The views, comments, and opinions of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Morris Media Studios, MorrisMediaLive.com, or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
I can see my life in you. Now I can live. I can see my life with you. Now I can live forevermore.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on what time you're watching this great show. My name is D Nice, and like always, I tell you, we're going to bring you the best in interviews, the best in knowledge, and the best in understanding on how to take your life in your style to the next level. Tonight is no different. I'm talking to three people who I've gotten to know over the years in the organization Toastmasters. This particular group we have here is Justice Masters. Shout out to Judge Patty Titus, who had the foresight to bring into perspective a group that brought people together under the same knowledge base on not only grooming yourself as far as leadership, but your public speaking ability, and also being able to share your message in such a way that is compelling for people to listen and understand what you're saying. So without any more rambling, D-Nice is going to turn it over to my partner in crime. We've done radio before for a long time, and we've done a lot of stuff. We can talk about a lot of stuff we've done, been able to accomplish at other stations, and he's here with me now to help to guide this ship. I'm talking about the president of Justice Masters, Mr. Michael Jones. What's up, Michael?
Hello to everybody. Happy holidays, and I hope everybody's having a great time. It is such a joy and a privilege to be back here at Morris Media and to be able to connect with our community. That is so very important. We have two phenomenal guests here today. Florence Bracey, she's in our Toastmasters Club, Justice Masters, and also Everett Williams. And he's not necessarily a part of our Justice Masters Club, but he's a part of all of our Toastmasters Club. He helps out everybody. And we're here to talk to you just to have some interaction about the greatest fear on earth, that of public speaking. And we all have our own little journeys and our own little stories. And so I'm going to go with ladies first. I'm going to have Florence tell a little bit about yourself and how you found Justice Master.
Well, like he said, my name is Florence, and I've been in Toastmasters for 4 years. This year's the 4th year. And I was kind of solicited to come, and my arm was twisted.
We know that feeling.
But it didn't take much because I was a speech major. I was in sales for many years, but I hadn't been out there selling or speaking publicly. And it's been a joy. It's been a joy to bring back all those memories of speaking in public and conferences. It's really amazing what Toastmasters teaches you if you've never had that experience. But for me, it was basically just helping me remember.
Right.
Like all those speech competitions I was in and conferences and being in front of board members. It's been an amazing journey.
Okay. Everett, let's talk a little bit about you. What was your first experience with Toastmasters? Now, you've been a Toastmaster how long?
16 years.
16 years. Bring a lot to the table.
Well, let me go back a bit further. My mother encouraged me to take a speech class and to improve my communication skills. I didn't listen, but the seed was planted. So 16 years ago, I went to a club called Dynamic 90s, and I said to myself, as I sat there, this is my tribe. My mother was right. So I joined Dynamic 90s, now Dynamic Orators, and I have stayed with it ever since. I'm a member of more than one club, and as you say, as the district club extension chair. I'm here to help out as many clubs as I can. So I enjoy the experience. I love the experience.
Right.
It's part hobby, part responsibility, but mostly it's just a love of the entire Toastmaster experience.
Well, one person that's missing here with our just this wonderful group of Justice Masters, I would call it, and we'll just go ahead and write you in on that one.
Honorary member. You are so dubbed.
Yeah. Honorary member.
Yes.
That is Superior Court Judge Patty Titus.
Yes, indeed.
I came to Justice Masters after being bugged by Patty Titus. We used to sing in the Holman Choir for many years. And she said, you need to come to Toastmasters. You will learn a lot, and it would really help you with your business. I said, okay. Yeah, okay.
Right.
I lasted for a little period of time, and then I finally decided to go ahead and show up for the first meeting.
Right.
And I thought, I'm scared to death.
Right.
Public speaking, I had no idea what that was all about. I just know that I didn't want to do it.
Exactly.
And she said, oh, you'll make it. Just keep on working at it. And then I met D. Nice, and he helped me along the way. He took me under his wing, and he showed me a lot of interesting things that kind of helped me out, and the rest is history. But we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But I'm just so glad to be here with our community and being able to reach out to you and talk to you about this wonderful organization. Our club, Justice Masters, is one of the safest clubs in the world. Why can I say that?
Right.
This is the only club that I know of that you have to go through a metal detector to get to our club, because we meet in the Inglewood Courthouse, 1 East Regent, 12:15 to 1:15. And oh, by the way, Toastmasters are always on time. We begin and end when we say that we do. So we're there in department number 2 in the Inglewood Courthouse every Thursday, 12:15 to 1:15. But I'll tell you a little bit more about that. We'll get back to that. D. Nice, I bet you have some questions that you'd like to ask.
Well, more so comments, because when you have questions, it's because you don't know. And I've got a chance of working with all you guys, like our honorary member here, so dubbed, Everett. We go way back in the different amenities of the training classes that they have twice a year for once you become an officer. That's another aspect of the leadership part of it. You've got an officer's role, which is good because you have to learn management.
That's right.
And it's good to be able to vocalize and get everything done. I like it for the aspect of if I can tell people, look, every day you're using your voice to get what you want. You have yet to find somebody to tell me that they've walked into the bank and say, you know what, I want some money out of the bank. Well, how much money you want? I don't care, just give me what you want me to have. Or go down to buy a house and say, well, I want to buy a house. Well, what kind of house? No, where, location? No, just give me a house. Or no matter what you get on a daily basis, you ask them specifically what you have need for. And they try to facilitate your need. If they can't, you go with somebody who can, right? And this is what you do every day. So that's public speaking.
That's right.
You're speaking to the public. And then so suddenly we're going to say, okay, here you are on stage now. Suddenly you're going to get brain lock and brain freeze. It's just psychological. And we're helping people move past that psychological block and be able to say, okay, I can do this. Look at everybody like you're dealing with them on a one-on-one. And if somebody says, no, you can't have that purple Cadillac, or you can't have that house over here on the hills of Malibu, you don't know what I can afford or what you know what I'm saying? So you can't tell me what I can have. So once you start giving me objections of why it's not right for me, then I'm going to start bringing in why it is right for me. And so then comes the negotiation. And whoever's best at negotiation wins that war, correct? So that's what we do every day. And so people telling me, oh, I freeze, I get scared when I'm speaking in front of people. Don't try to eat an elephant at one time. Do it a bite at a time. So if you look at it prospectively, that I'm doing this every day already, asking for what I want and getting what I want. And when I don't find out the center median path that you can make somebody see your point of view, yes, their point of view is valid too, but you're the one that has a need. So how can you tell me my need better than me? So let me just stop you right there and show you what I need, and let's work on that perspective. How's that working for you? And so they'll get back to where they'll say, okay, I'm not going to be the super salesman right now. I'm going to let you sell me on what you want. See, it's reversing the ideology of what we come to on a day-to-day basis. That's how easy it is. Once we break it down to that perspective, then the fear is gone, or it surmises itself a little bit, correct? So all of us have been through these trainings that we go to twice a year as a family, as a district. People we haven't seen because they're clubs, are different clubs. We get together and have a little fellowship time where we're learning how to be adept at particular job, whether it's president like you are, Michael, or vice president of the clubs, or whatever role that you have in that club setting, what to do and how to do it, to have a complete meeting that people walk in wondering, how do I do this, and walk out fulfilled and say, I can do this. That's the change in the mindset, the paradigm shift. And so meeting and working with you guys along the way, I know different attributes of Everett. When Dynamic 90s, that was one of my clubs where I was the governor. I was over, when you're into leadership, they give you a certain amount of clubs that you've got to work with, making sure that they keep the number of speeches they need, making sure they have the attendance, everything you need to take a successful club. You're responsible. And so I saw the way that dynamic was in that club, and I said, oh, this is befitting that they would call themselves dynamic, because you guys were just, everything was like stepped in, everything lockstep. You didn't get there on time for them Saturday clubs. Guess what? For your meetings, the door is locked. You know what I'm saying? It was like that. People got there on time. They did what they were supposed to do. I liked the way that that club operated. And I respected you guys off the top of all the clubs I met. You guys had it so tight and so clean. Thanks for being around. And thanks for showing me how another half lives. You know what I'm saying? So I've seen you come in and work with other groups and other clubs, and the way your personality has been able to bring them in and help them, and they feel comfortable in working with you and learning from you. That's another thing. So I know that you're a giver. You know what I'm saying? And so off the top, you're already a military cat, so you know how to do all this and juggle things. And so that's the good part about you. When I met you at the Justice Masters, you were like cold calling, we haven't seen you at the meeting for a while. Who is you? You know what I'm saying? And so I came in and I was able to meet you, and you were like, okay, this is what I'm doing. I've got this book. I'm doing this program or whatever. And I was like, oh, that's very interesting. Okay, let's see if we can do a foray where we can sit back and talk about what you're doing. Right. And time has just been, you know what I'm saying, moving. So we hadn't had a chance to do that. But yet and still, it has not stopped you. You're still moving on. Right. So it's a chance now to be able to say, okay, let's take a time to show people what you do and how you do it. And so I know that you have a stick-to-it with this too, so I know that about you. Me and Michael have done radio together. We've done a lot of things, television together. And we basically just, you know what I'm saying, we just bounce things off the wall and see if it sticks. If it doesn't stick, we just try it again until it sticks. So we know, you know what I'm saying, he could say, okay, I can't show up, but D-Nos will be there. I'll be like, you know, some of our event we're doing Sunday, you need a new host? Michael's going to be there. Volunteer. Michael, guess what? You're gonna be on the show. You know what I'm saying? So we've been able to do that. Mm-hmm. So that's the flexibility and knowing your people. And that's what you've got to do. Know yourself, know your people, and be able to contribute to the conversation. Because it's like a backyard barbecue. How many of us went to the backyard barbecue or throwing them in the past, and you had that one person that comes in and they bring Tupperware, and that's what they bring. And then they might have a Diet Coke, because they know no one in there drinks a Diet Coke, so they get to keep the Diet Coke too. And you sit there at the end of the day like, you have not brought in a single thing but a plate, and they're eating 5 or 6 plates and taking something to go. See, we can't be that person. You know, they're there, we don't knock them. We just got to show them this is a different way of doing things to where everybody can benefit. And so that's what Toastmasters does, showing you how to come together as a group where everybody benefits. Everybody eats. And if everybody eats, guess what? We're all growing together. And so that's what's the good thing about being able to come on this location and start this new communication out there, telling people no matter where you're at in your life. Dude, one thing that has put you into the threshold already, walking through the door, you do this every day.
Right.
You claim what you want every day. So now we're going to show you how to define it and put it into your own style and make it work for you to wherever you go, no negotiation you'll ever enter into that you can't win. Do your research. If you're going to get a new job, don't they do your research? Find out about the company. So when you're talking to those people that are interviewing you, you know as much about the company as they do. You know what I'm saying? So you're able to say, well, you know what? Don't you have this kind of diversity, this kind of, and you're able to cite something. They're like, man, they really did their homework. See, that sets you apart from everybody else. Everybody else is just trying to show themselves and put their best foot forward. But see, you asking yourself, look, I know what I can bring into the foray. What can I take from this? And if you can't walk at it saying, okay, I can get satisfied for what I need, then it's a one-sided conversation, correct? How many of us married for love and then find out that it wasn't really love? You know what I'm saying? And then at the end of the day, you're sitting there feeling jilted and wanting to kill everybody, whatever. You went into it for the wrong reason. And people are getting into situations for the wrong reason. Let's not have people thinking that they can be defeated because they don't know how to ask for what they want. First, you got to know what you want. First, you got to know who you are and what you're going to take and what you won't take. And then that's the line of demarcation. Then you step through that doorway, and then you start practicing. And the more you say, oh, I got this. The more things you start getting from people, say, I'm loving this. Then it becomes a habit. And so where everything you ask for, you're assuming that you're going to get it because you did your research. Okay, they're asking this amount for this car right here, but I went and did some online searching. You know, you got a car right up the street from you, and he's asking this price. It may be a lie, but they don't know the difference. Mm-hmm. Now, Oak says, should I go across the street or, you know, watch how quickly the price goes down? You see what I'm saying? Right. That's what people got to realize they're doing in their life every day. So meeting you guys and knowing what you bring to the table, sure. It's a perfect prospect now to move this forward. Mm-hmm. You all have something to bring. And like, you know, so I know we're going to get into what you do with your book and what you do as a living. Same thing you, Everett, you know what I'm saying? You guys have lives. We know the Toastmasters aspect of it, but it's a busy schedule that brings us together. Marley Gibbs taught me a long time ago, if you want something done, give it to a busy person. And I used to scratch my head for many years trying to figure it out. They're finally, because when I give it to someone who's busy, they'll say, okay, let me get to it. And they'll sit back and they'll formulate and put it in their schedule. But somebody doesn't have any time to do anything, they'll make it happen. The ones that have all the time in the world, they'll be like, oh, I'll get to it. A year later, I come back. What happened to that? Oh, you know what? I think it's here under my desk under the bottom pile. Right. So you got to make yourself to be what you want today, tomorrow, and forever. And once you know that, you can go after what you want. Don't you agree?
I agree.
So you were talking about you had a book, or Michael, where you want to start from? Who you want to get on the hot seat first, or what they doing?
Well, actually, we like to go to Florence because Florence and I went to college together many years ago, and wow, she has just become this awesome author, and she's doing wonderful things. She's touching the world in the subject of autism. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, my name is Florence, like I said, and I have a son who's 28 years old who has autism. And I wrote for 12 years how I navigated the system because I don't know if you're aware, it's very hard to get services if you have this diagnosis. And families have to fight. And what I found is I needed an outlet to write, and I wrote every time I went out on the battlefield. And it was my journal for 12 years. And it was K through 12. And at the end of the 12th year, high school, my family friend said, you need to make this into a book. I said, a book? Nobody wants to read all that. They said, yeah, they do. So I sat on it for a couple years, and I decided, you know what? I think I'm going to work on it. So it took me about 2 years to have it edited, and I came out with this, Help Me Understand My Child. A Mother's Truth About Autism. Wow. And I've been endorsed by UCLA, USC, LMU, Cal State LA, and parents, of course. Right. And it's a handbook in story format on how to navigate the system of special needs. Wow. Because no one knows about the parents and their feelings. They see the child or the adult with the disability, and they see the diagnosis, but they don't see all that energy behind that person to get the services, to get what they need to be successful. And that's what the book shares with you. And I've helped a lot of parents understand the mindset that they need to have going into this world. And it's good for those that are interested in a human being and how these families have to navigate to get what they need. So that's what I've done. And the book is being translated in Spanish, and I'll be out with that in January. But I've been all over speaking at conferences, podcasts, major radio stations as well. And I'm really happy that you invited me here for television, because the word needs to get out about how this disability is affecting our families. And it is the fastest growing disability in the world, intellectual disability in the world. And for those that are interested, it's a great book to learn about that and families. It's my voice, and it's not a technical book. It's just my feelings about how frustrated I was in getting the information I needed. And I have resources in the back of the book for those that need information as well.
Now, let me go back for a second.
Sure.
For those that don't understand, I'm really new to it. I'm going to be honest with you. What is autism?
Autism is a developmental disability that affects communication, cognization, behavior, and socialization on a spectrum. It could be very high functioning to very low functioning. And it's for those that have low functioning, it's apparent. But there's people walking around that have this disability where there's gaps. They might appear to be very normal, speak very articulate, but there's social gaps where they're all in your face and not understanding that there's a social parameter. Or there's different other gaps that that are apparent.
Is it basically kids or
adults? These kids grow to be adults.
Oh, of course, right. And
in 1975, it was 1 in 10,000 children had autism. Now it's 1 in 68, 1 in 59. So everyone you talk to, if you're in a room, you say, "Do you know anyone that has autism?" Most people are going to raise their hand, either affected by it in their family, friends, church members. It's amazing. It's in the world. It's throughout the world. It's not just the United States. In California, we have about 300,000 disabled people that are serviced through the regional centers. And that's state money. And here in California, LA County is 1 in 100,000.
Are they addressing it to a point to where we're taking it seriously, or is it kind of going under the rug? Or
well, it's pretty apparent now.
Okay, got you.
I don't know if you're aware that just recently Trump signed a $1.8 billion grant for research and services for those in rural areas and services throughout the United States. So it's pretty apparent.
We better get that money quick before it changes.
Exactly.
Did I say
that? Yeah. Right. So that's something positive. I just wanted to put it out there.
No, I appreciate it. Wow.
Well, one of the things that I've noticed, I've had the privilege, and I really mean this from the bottom of my heart, to be able to be working with you as a Toastmaster for some of your meetings. And you touch people's hearts in such a way, the parents and the children, they're there in tears because they've read the book and it makes such a powerful impact. And to see you just grow up over the years since college, it just warms my heart. And you're going to touch the world. Trust me, you're going to touch the world.
Thank you so much.
Fighting this disease.
Yeah, we're on board. We're on board. Believe me, we got you coming because I need to know more about that because, like I said, I didn't know that there was a functional aspect to it.
Oh yeah.
I just think it's just the same kind of look that says, okay, that look there, that's
no.
Oh wow.
It's can look very normal and act very normal, but there's some intellectual gaps there. It's like I said, a range. A range. And a lot of our children and adults need socialization, how to date, how to conduct yourself in public, how to eat at a table. So it's a whole range of abilities that need to be addressed. Right.
Now the book, where is it? How can we get the book?
The book is available on Amazon. Help Me Understand My Child. Florence Bracy, Bracy, and my website is florencebracy.com, and that'll take you to an order form as well.
Spell Bracy so they know
Bracy.
Okay.
Bracy.
Well, I want my copy because I need to find out more about that. That's pretty
Exactly.
Very good.
And we'd like to have our audience out there look more into
Yes.
it as well, and look to Florence as a resource,
Right.
because you may know somebody
Right.
that could really, really benefit from her help and her research and discovery.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we'll have to bring you on our Health from the Inside Out show and talk
Right.
to
Thank
some of
you.
our.
Appreciate
So
that.
I love this. All right, now this hot seat has got many seats on it. Now we're going over to the far end of
There
the
you go.
spectrum.
Here
Go
I
ahead, Mr. Michael. Take it over to the left.
All right. Mr. Everett, where did we first meet? It was at a Toastmasters meeting.
Correct.
Do you remember?
We've been together many times, so I don't recall the exact meeting. So refresh my memory.
Not
Well,
volunteering nothing.
one of the things that we both love to do is to serve. And I believe we were picking up chairs or moving tables around for a meeting. But
We do a lot of that.
one of the things that we have a special bond, we're both only children. And both,
Wow.
only children have a special, just
Right.
like
Yeah.
We're
going
special, and we have a special bond.
a
Right.
special
You got
bond. A special bond. Tell us a little bit about your time with Toastmasters and what you do, because you've had several different positions.
Well, as a Toastmaster, as you suggest, you do many things. You're a club officer. There are 7 different club offices. So over time, you might do all of those, from president to sergeant at arms, which is the one where it just sits up the room. President is the guiding light of the club. Many other offices. Then you can leave the club experience and go outside and be a district officer, area director, an advisor to 4, 5, 6 clubs. You might then choose to be a division director and advise the area directors. You can go beyond that to, as I am now, club extension chair. I have the honor of working with club growth chair, Diane Markham, and our goal is to grow, start new clubs, and to work with other clubs in various ways. I have the honor of working with Ken Starks, District 1 director, Brad Stauffer, club quality director. So you meet a lot of people, you work with them in various ways at various times. You grow in that process. You learn new things. For the most part, you learn that you can. It can be a surprise. I did that. For a whole year, I did that. And I was successful at that. For me, I thought that was not possible.
Right.
Be an area director, work with 4 or 5 clubs, lead them, hopefully, to being a distinguished area, a distinguished club. I thought, no way, no way. And I was asked more than once. One of the great things about Toastmasters is that others see a quality in you, see success in you, and push you and pull you toward being successful and support you in that process. So I love that aspect of Toastmasters, that you will be successful, a better communicator, a better leader. You will learn new skill sets. You can't help but rise. Right. And those skill sets will serve you everywhere. Relationships, job, profession, wherever you might be. Just talking to someone you just met, you're better at that. So I would encourage everyone, give Toastmasters a try and see yourself grow, prosper, rise to the next level.
You remind me of a quote that I once heard: your gift will make room for you. Your gift of service, your gift of gratitude within Toastmasters has always made room for you, because you are the go-to person to make things happen, to help out people that are kind of going and walking around and they don't know what to do, or they're afraid to do this. You come and put your arms around them and just kind of give them some encouragement. And I really appreciate that about you, because you're just so dynamic with it and just so special with it. Probably because we're both only children, we see that.
Now, I have a question here. Seeing that people may be listening to you and say, okay, I'm clicking to what he's saying, I'm liking what he's saying, but they want to know, how can I get involved? Now, how would somebody be able to get started? How would they find the appropriate club? Because we've already mentioned there's different clubs. So somebody said, they're going, what's the right club? How do we lock that in? So talk about a little behind the dynamics on getting involved with the Toastmasters aspect and what it entails for those.
Very easy. Go to Toastmasters.org, Toastmasters.org, and you'll find a cell for your zip code. And it'll give you a list of clubs based on time, day, your choice. And you visit a club, 2 clubs, 3 clubs. At some point, your goal is to find the club that clicks for you. And you can simply ask, can I join? Or they'll ask you, do you want to be a member?
Right.
Very simple. And if you say yes to being a member, they're happy to have you. Basically, you've got to also pay some very nominal fees. It's $45 for every 6 months. $20 one-time fee. After that, it's $45 every 6 months. There might be a club fee, but I find it very affordable.
Right.
Very easy to find a club. Again, Toastmasters.org. Fill in your zip code. List of clubs come up. Visit 3 or 4.
Now let's go back a little further. Toastmasters, where did that name kind of? Because there's a history behind why they called it Toastmasters when it first came together. Can we talk about how that name came in?
I can only say Ralph Smedley and others about 94, 95, 6 years ago will be 100 years old in 2024.
Wow. Okay.
So I guess that's 95 years ago. They decided to call it Toastmasters. Apparently the idea, my best guess, is that making a toast is one of those things that requires some degree of skill and understanding.
Right. Exactly.
So they called it Toastmasters. I would have called it Speech Masters, but no one asked me.
Your option. Yeah, but that's what it is, because a lot of people even today don't know how to make a toast. You know what I'm saying? You'll be there and they're rambling on. You're like, can we drink already? You know what I'm saying? So that's a good way to be able to, you know what I'm saying, show people how to make a quick toast and a great toast.
And actually, there was a connection between Ralph Smedley and the local YMCA, Young Men's Christian Organization.
Right, got you.
And he started Toastmasters to help businessmen be able to articulate themselves in a manner that people understood them, and they wouldn't run away.
Right,
they would sit there and listen. So the two kind of came together, and it was just a marriage made in heaven.
Dynamic. Now, Michael, you cannot go away unscathed. So now that you have to see, we met a long time ago, but you've walked a lot of different pathways, especially when you were in charge of the chamber.
Yes.
And that is a big undertaking, because you're in charge of a whole lot of business folk of our color, and that can be quite challenging. So let's
be careful. We're on the air.
So let's talk about that a little bit.
Let's talk about that. I was, I'm reminded of the story where the young man was challenged to swim across a pool of piranhas.
Okay.
And he was sitting there contemplating that task. And the next thing everybody heard was a splash. And he began to swim like mad. It made it to the other side. Right. And they said, well, why did you do that? He said, that's not the question that I need an answer to. I need the question of who pushed me.
Right. Good one.
But the whole idea of this idea of Toastmasters and getting involved, for me, I'm a fan of Miles Monroe. And Miles Monroe never looked at anything without looking at its purpose. And one of the purposes of Toastmasters International, what we have to always come back to, we're here because individuals become more effective communicators and leaders. Now, if you just become a great communicator, that's all you are. You just flap your jaws. But if you have people following you as a leader, wow, that's transformative. And then people get together and they work. I've never seen an organization where people are so helpful to help you get to the next step. You helped me immensely, even though you pushed me out the airplane several times without parachutes.
Wow.
But it was good. I didn't die.
Right.
But one day.
Gray hairs behind it, but
gray hairs.
Right.
But that's how we work together. It's one of the greatest fears on earth, but at the same time, there's loving people there to help you to excel and get to where you want to go. And that really really helps out. But you helped me with radio and television. I became a TV host. I was baptized by fire.
No trip.
I guess one of my first interviews was, who was that? That was...
We've done so many.
We've done so many.
You know,
but
Herb Weston came on.
Yeah.
We had Marquise come on when he was getting elected for the night of his election. And that went pretty well, didn't it?
Yeah, it sure did.
Yep. He was the one that answered. We had to, being politically correct, you send out an invitation to everybody running. And so Marquise took us up on it, came into the studio, and he had the highest number of anybody as a rookie coming in and being able to take over. I think 69% or something like that he won by a landslide like that. And so that was a blessing. And so, man, the list goes on and on of people that have come through. Bernard Parks. So we've had almost everybody.
Well, I was actually thinking about our TV show that we had. One of my first interviewees was Mother Love.
Oh, yeah. Yes, that was an interesting interview. That's correct.
And we had a good time, and she was very kind.
Yes.
And I learned a lot.
Right.
I learned a lot. I didn't have gray hair then, but
I took my fire on that one there. Ooh,
but she's such a loving
Yes,
person.
yes,
I
yeah.
learned so much from her
Right.
and all the people that we set up to interview, which I very much appreciate for that radio prowess and the
Right.
TV prowess that I learned. All
Well,
through Toastmasters.
I learned something about management. Okay, management is getting a job done with and through people. So I learned, my father told me a long time ago when we were integrating a lot of schools, he said, you know what, as much as you want to be a part of what it is in your future, whatever it is, he said, let you have a test and let the white, the Caucasian person come up and get a 99.99, you make a 99.99, who do you think is going to get the job or situation? And it dawned on me what he was saying. And so I can't settle for a 99.99. I got to get over 100%, so where at least I can say, look, I beat him at the prompt, so how was that looking there? So I've got to proceed beyond that. So I learned how to get things done with and through people. So you don't know, Michael, you helped me as much as that you've helped me. Because like I said, if I needed to get my rounds made, Michael was available. I could call Michael and tell him how to do it. He'd make the runs. And I could sit back and do other things, and he can get that done. And by doing that, the more that he engulfed himself, and then he got so much engulfed, he brought the wife on board, which is good to have a partner working with you.
That's
right.
You know what I'm saying? And the rest of his history, because they've made couple history. And it's really a good thing to see people grow. And so it sometimes you got to push people out on a plane. It's just like, okay, the parachute cord is right there. Oh, did you hear me? Oh, my goodness. I guess he'll figure it out before he hits the ground. And that's been a blessing for us to be able to get here and be here at this time.
Well, one of the most powerful things about only children is they pick their brothers and sisters. So you're still my brother.
Despite all, huh? Now, but I
Still
won't turn
my
my
brother.
back off and he's playing now because I know he owes me one. You know what I'm saying? So it's a good thing. So now we've talked a little about Toastmasters organization and how they can get involved and things. But we also do lessons learned too. Because as you're giving your speeches, you're able to go into competitions, and you're able to go even up to the champion of the world, world speaker. And I've had the blessing of being able to work with a couple of guys that have gone past the district level and was getting ready to go to international. Shouts out to Jose, who's over there at the Speakers Bureau. I got a chance to work with him and bring him down to my studio and sit and have him on my stage going over the same thing 15 times, and with the cameras and whatever. And a couple other people that I've been able to work with. And it's been a blessing to see him go to the world, event and do what he did. And so as you're taking the little small steps in what you do in upgrading your own personality and your own prowess in this one here, and seeing other people that you've touched their life, it just makes you hunger for more. And that's when Michael called me up one day in my studio downtown, and he get this harebrained scheme because some lady approached him. And they had two teenagers that were in high school.
Oh, yeah.
And they're two good-looking guys. Yeah. And one of them was like the athletic prowess, the blonde hair, and the other one was his little partner. But his little partner was like the little nerd kind of cat, super greenish, and his parents were just all the way in there doing some things. And so they wanted to learn how to do the public speaking aspect. But there was no niches for teenagers. There's not a niche in Toastmasters for that. So Michael had this scheme. He's like, dude, you got the studio, you got the cameras, you got the stage. Well, let's train these guys. I'm like, Okay. So we brought them down here, and they were doing their summer vacation, and their Darren had to go back. And so I think we had basically like 2 weeks to train these guys. And so he says, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to just make this almost like an everyday situation. It's going to be our job for a minute. I'm sitting there going, really, dude? And so we did it. And so we brought in me and you, and I think Stacy came down, and I did some training, and we just concentrated getting these kids, because they were like straight up saying, I don't like to speak in front of public. I don't have a voice or whatever. They just were just dead set. They couldn't do it. And so I think we gave them about 6 total. We only could squeeze in like 6 hours with them. And then we had the Toastmasters group here, Justice Masters, come down and hear them give a speech in front of the club. We took them to the club, in fact, and and these guys there were so transformed in that small amount of time to get up there and be able to not only get up in front of us, but to be able to give a compelling speech.
Exactly.
And that was just such a joy to see these young people, and that's been on my heart ever since. I'm like, dude, we need to get more involved with these young people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That are not old enough to do it, but yet and still they have problems. They have high schools with no communication. That's why the shootings and all this stuff is going on. They can't communicate their feelings. They can't communicate their disgust, their disappointments, their harassments, or whatever. So if we can get these kids now and give them a voice, then they can talk things through more so than just becoming activated by emotions. And that's what they drive on, emotions. Teach them how to talk through it. So Toastmasters is a good venture for all of them. Although we can't bring this younger guys in it, we can always take it to the streets. And that's what this is part of what we're trying to do, take it to the streets and make it available for those that want to learn how to have their voice, find your voice. And that's our hashtag, find your voice, here. And this is what we're doing here. And we'll be back every other week. We'll be doing this on Fridays, showing people how to have their voice. And even people that are challenged as seasoned Toastmasters that want to go to the next level, that don't know, I can speak not only in front of a group and doing competition, but also I can be on the air.
Exactly.
You know, so somebody who's looking at you says, "Oh, she'd make a great host for our channel 5 News or what." You never know, but this is the next step. You gotta pursue the higher life, and knowing that you're open like a book, and you're still writing pages until you leave here.
Right.
And when you leave here, you better be able to shut the book and say it is finished. That's what Christ said. When he finished, he said, it's finished, because everything he needed to do was done. Let's go out of there with ink already written out. There's no more ink left and no more pages to write on, because we left life, you know what I'm saying, knowing that we did our journey. It helped other people along their journey. So that's the good part I like about the Toastmasters. And I like you guys being able to come down and talk about what you're doing. So we got a few more. So let's talk about your next adventures. We already know about your book and where to find it. That's a nice looking read. It looks like a very easy read.
It is. It's
so what would that cost me for that quick read?
It's $20.
Okay, yeah, I want to get
and
it.
It's very informative. We
Yes,
have
really?
resources,
Okay.
and it will open up your world
Got you.
to special needs.
So what's next from the?
Well, I just also wanted to mention that I have a support group.
Okay.
We've been running 5 years, and this is for parents of children and adults with autism. And we meet right here around the corner on 43rd and Degnan.
Okay.
4305, the first Monday of every month.
Good.
And it's been fabulous, because
Okay.
I bring speakers in that talk about autism in their specialty: psychologists, speech therapists, occupational therapists. I have yoga teachers for the parents,
Right, okay.
because I believe in self-care, because we definitely need that for our
Right.
parents. And it's just been amazing. I also had a deaf teacher come, because some of our kids and adults don't speak at all.
Wow.
And how do you communicate with them? So that's available. But to tag on what you're saying about Toastmasters, that's my next adventure, is providing programming for our adults, young adults.
Good.
And I would like to start a group for those that have Asperger's/autism, that's high functioning, for our group. Because it's important, because there are those that can speak, that can function in front of a group, but need some guidance and some instruction, but they can do it.
Well, we'll help out. With the
Appreciate
platform
that.
we're going to help. Let's go over here to Everett. Everett, what are the new projects you're doing now that we need to know about?
There is a youth component to Toastmasters called the Youth Leadership Program.
Mm-hmm.
It's not so much new, but I'm always involved in that.
Right.
And there are many others who do that as well.
Mm-hmm.
And as was suggested, it's a program for youth, I would say 12 to 17.
Perfect.
And we teach them Toastmaster skills,
Good.
how to communicate, how to lead,
Mm-hmm.
how to be a club officer, how to make a speech, how to evaluate a speech, all of those things. So I love that part of Toastmasters.
Mm-hmm.
I want my second Distinguished Toastmaster designation.
That's the highest.
Hopefully I'll get
That
there.
is.
His PhD, that's what it is.
Yeah.
For public speaking.
I know those who have 6 and 7, so I'm behind. You know,
I got you.
but as Michael would say, we only children are ambitious, and very goal oriented.
I got you.
Just stay with the Toastmaster experience. You know, I belong to several clubs, and you want to make every club the best club it can be.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of my goals. As I said, as club extension chair with Diane Markham, club growth chair, our goal is to start as many clubs as possible, work with other clubs. So there's always a goal ahead of you if you're a Toastmaster. And that's just it. You achieve one goal, and then you go to the next goal.
Yeah, move on.
If
Now-
you love the experience.
Yeah,
And I
now,
do.
somebody needs to catch up with you. Give us a hookup on how we can catch up with you.
Well, there's my email address. Just
Okay, please.
Everett Williams, Everett.Williams,
Spell that out for him.
EVERETTE dot Williams, WILLIAMS, at District 1, the number 1, Toastmasters.org. So Everett.Williams at District 1, Toastmasters.org.
Appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Florence, we forgot to ask you. Give us a hookup where you can.
All right. I'm Florence Bracy, BRACY.com. And my email address is Bracy, BRACY, Florence 2013 at Gmail.
Love it. Thank you. And Mr. Michael Jones, take us home.
All right. I want to finish up by saying that Toastmasters has helped me to really look back over my life and choose the areas that I really want to serve in. And one of the areas that I serve in, I help people to discover, develop, and deploy their God-given purpose. And that's powerful because, like Florence, what she's doing right now, nobody can get in her way.
Right.
Everett's the same way. And it's so neat to see somebody flowing in that vein because nobody can stop them. They're unstoppable.
Right.
And they can just go on. And then they're helping out a lot of other people once they find that purpose to land and help another set of people. So I have an executive coaching firm called Success Management LLC, which I've had for over 25 years. And it's really starting to pick up right now. And so I'm very pleased with how things are going. Again, my success goes a lot back to Toastmasters.
Nice.
I love it. And we will see a lot more of you, Michael, and some of the others that here. I'd like to put my hats off to my club, Justice Masters, club number 3023753. Now, there was a club number 1. So that shows you how many Toastmasters clubs have been formed since then. 30, what, 3? Oh, man, okay. It's in the buildings, okay? But this is what we do. And all the awards you see on here for all the academics and whatever, it's a great place to be. Toastmasters International is a great place to be. It doesn't cost you an arm and a leg to get involved. It shows you leadership skills, and it shows you what you do each and every day. Like these young people help to pronunciate and show us today. You ask for what you need every day. So you're speaking publicly every day. So forget that stigma that, they're not going to understand. Make them understand. Use your voice, however it is. What you heard today, put it in your own style. Make it work for you. And when you come up against somebody who wants to counter that, then you find a way knowing yourself on how to maneuver through what they're asking for because nobody knows you like you. Nobody can appreciate you like you. We appreciate you. I'd like to say a shout out to Justice Masters Club, Judge Patty Titus for starting this and bringing it in. And we got some major players on there. So it's on Thursday between 12:30 and 1:30. Lunchtime club.
12:15 and 1:15.
12:15 and 1:15. And they don't, he told you, we don't get late. You don't come in late because you get the doors locked on you. Or you be locked up. No, I'm just kidding. So this is D Nice, and so like I said, each and every week, man, put God first, and everything else will follow. I guarantee it. From Florence Bracey, from Michael Jones, from Everett Williams, and from Miss M. This is D Nice saying, we'll see you next time on Justice Masters Presents. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Heaven must have known that this day would surely come along. Had some angels watching me to make